Once upon a time, Smokey the Bear, he used to say, he used to say, only you can prevent forest fires. I'm sure you've heard that. When I was growing up, we heard it all the time. It was like a real common thing on TV, and I can still remember the commercial. They would show when you put out your campfire, they'd say you pour water on the campfire. Then what do? You take a stick, you stir it, you add more water. I remember this from my childhood because it was on TV all the time, and it was hugely successful. Problem was, those little fires that were being prevented um, helped prevent highly destructive, what we call crown fires. So small fires that would burn off and would have very little long-term effect um, have been eliminated. And so in our forest, after 40 years of hearing, make sure you don't have a fire, we've been very good at stopping this. Well, now we have a huge problem with fire because the woods are full of what would have been burned in these small fires because fire is natural. Fire happens with lightning, and it's a natural process. And depending on the area where you are, sometimes it happens more routinely. But in the ecosystems, at some point, it's going to burn. Well, now we have a problem where we have crown fires. And what a crown fire is it's a high intensity fire that not completely burns the trees. It sometimes will even burn away all the topsoil. They're hugely destructive. And so now we have the potential for these gigantic fires, and they're having to spend huge money to try and figure out how to get rid of this fuel that's left in the woods. And so now they realize that it's much better to have these small fires and to prevent these really huge fires. I remember when I was in South Carolina, I lived there for a few years. I used to like to go hiking in the forest. And so there was this area on the map called the Francis Marion Forest. And it's in an area that had been hit by a hurricane maybe 10 years prior. I took my dog and we went for a walk in the forest. Well, there was no walking in the forest. There were literally trees down everywhere. You could not walk 10 feet into the forest without having to climb over a log. And this is an example of, what can happen. You end up with this huge amount of fuel in the woods. And what are you going to do about it? If it ever catches fire, it's just going to obliterate the area. And that's the problem that was created by this very successful campaign by Smokey the Bear. All right, so we're about halfway through chapter 6. This is the final video for now. And then on Tuesday of next week, we'll cover the latter half of chapter 6. And guess what? Thursday of next week, we'll have exam 3 over chapters 5 and 6.